everyone. Welcome back to this edition of Business Ambassadors. I'm Mike Corbett. My guest today is Courtney Miller, who also is an online broadcaster on the radio side. She does podcasts. And Courtney, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
From Carmel, and your website is Local Living Carmel.
Yes.
Local Living Carmel.
LocalLivingCarmel.com.
And on there you interview businesses and so forth. So tell me a little bit about how this came to be.
Sure. I grew up in Carmel my whole life, went through the school system from K through 12, and went off to college, got married, moved away, lived overseas for about 6 years. So I just recently moved back in April after about 13 years of not being in the area. And anyone who knows about Carmel knows it's a really different city than it was 15 years ago, especially the downtown area.
So you had some culture shock when you came back.
Yeah, a little bit. And so I thought, I'm coming back after all these years. I need to get reconnected with the city. I need to meet people. And the more my husband and I spoke, the more I realized, the people I really want to get to know are these small business owners, because who is more local than a small business owner? Someone whose family and livelihood are deeply embedded in the community. And so I was driving down the road a couple weeks after we moved back, and I veered into Carmel Old Town Antique Mall and asked Roman Chang if I could interview him, and he said yes, and I've been hooked since then.
Great.
Yeah.
So what does it entail? It's a very similar thing to what we do here. What does it entail to get a podcast going? I mean, you have to have your own website, I presume.
Yeah, which is really easy. There's really low overhead costs, which is one reason it appealed to me, because at the time I wasn't sure if it would turn into a business. It was more of a personal project at the start. So we started a WordPress account, which is free. And we bought a little recorder, which was like $90. And then it just took, most of it was just the guts to go ask people, because that was really scary at first for me, because I thought, why would they say yes? But everyone does, and they're really anxious to tell their story. And because their journeys are pretty interesting.
Well, the reason I met you is that you saw the Hamilton County Business Magazine. You emailed me and said, "Can I interview you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." I mean, everybody loves to talk about their business.
And they're really generous with their time, and they're anxious to share with people.
Well, and you're generous with your time. I mean, the interview went a half an hour, which is a whole lot longer than our interviews go, and she got into a whole lot of detail, which, it doesn't take much to get me to talk. That's enough over there, Jim. So tell me, so you've interviewed Roman Chang with the Antique Mall over there. Who else have you talked to?
I'll try to go in order. I did Jason Peak at Main Street Barbershop, Jay Schuler of Indiana Tattoo Company, Adam Neasley of Adams Flooring, Matt Frey of Bub's Burgers. Trying to go in order. There's about 15 that are on the website right now.
So what do you do, about one a week or so?
I try to. Okay. Yeah, one a week-ish. Holidays, I'm a little flexible on. And the one reason I wanted to do this is I've got 2 small kids at home, and I'm not in a season of life where I want to go get a job and be a slave to someone else's schedule. And so I needed something that I could do when I had the time to do it. And so mostly once a week it comes out,
Okay. Yeah. So you bring to this endeavor your entire background. You say you were out of the country for 15 years. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I was out of Carmel for about 15. I was in India for 6 years.
Nice.
That's a long story. The short version of it is my husband and I graduated college. And, the world is your oyster at that point. We had no children. And I had always wanted to do some type of mission work my whole life. And he said, well, I feel like I'm called to be with you, so wherever you think you're supposed to go, I'll go. But it ended up, we moved to India, and he had a job. He works for an IT company there, is what he does currently. So he manages all their content, blogs, website, anything that comes out from the company he manages.
So you said you wanted to go to India.
Well,
he followed you without a job and found the job when he got there?
Well, the story is more nuanced than that.
Yeah,
I wanted, originally my thought when I was younger is, I wanted to run an orphanage in Africa, because that's kind of the thing you think about. Which that developed over time. I discovered a love for business, and we met some friends who had other friends who were already living in India. They were working at a call center, helping workers work on their pronunciation.
Okay.
And so he actually went over and started out doing that. So he did start with a job there, and worked really hard. And that's a job that's just a season. There's not really a growth plan in a job like that.
And what kind of missionary work did you do? Or did you do?
Well, he had his full-time job,
Yep.
so we were living there.
Yep.
But then we worked kind of on our own free time. There's a really neat group of Hindus there who follow Jesus. So we weren't looking to convert anybody or anything like that. Most of our time was spent learning a lot from these people, really different forms of worship, really different ways of looking at the world, and it really transformed our perspective of Christ. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So why'd you decide to come back?
We had 2 small kids.
Yeah.
And my husband had been thinking about it for a while. He had a kind of job that he would probably be able to continue that job but do it from a distance. So he still works for the same company.
I see.
And it was just time. We'd been there 6 years. The kids are at a certain age, and our families are ready to have us back. So.
Yeah, well, that happens. That
Yeah.
happens. People come home again. They come home to Hamilton County.
Yep.
People really do
Yep,
that.
we're
a lot.
home again,
That's
so.
right. That's right. Well, it's great that you were able to get out and
Yeah.
experience a little bit and do a little bit of that experiencing the world that you wanted to do so much out of college. So now that you've got this program, what are your plans for it? Where do you see this going?
So initially it was the personal project, like I said, and then over time, I got my MBA while I was in India, but I wasn't able to really act much on it because I had 2 small children. We needed childcare. And so I was really anxious when we got back here to be able to act out some of the, creative ideas I had running around in my head and use some of those skills I had gained. And I had some more childcare available here with grandparents in town.
Yep.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
And so it just gave me a little more freedom to act some of that out. And so, like I said, personal project at the start, but then over time, I just started noticing that the common theme amongst most of these small business owners was they just need to get people in the door. And, small business owners are working like dogs. I mean, they have to do everything, from the big picture vision to changing the trash, every day.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if I can ease part of that and help them get traffic into their businesses, then I want to do that. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a coupon book, a hyper-local coupon book. So it'll only feature small, independently owned Carmel businesses. And it'll come out in the spring of next year. And I'm hoping that residents really take advantage of it as a way to, one, make a really good decision in terms of shopping and discounts, but also as a way to really encourage their neighbors who are being gutsy and trying something and working really hard. So
Great.
yeah.
Hey, promoting local business is what we're all about at the Hamilton County Business Magazine too, so that's a good thing.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's called locallivingcarmel.com, so be sure to check it out on the web. These are half-hour or so podcasts, all about local businesses here in Hamilton County and in Carmel. And good luck with it. It's great having you in. We appreciate you coming here today.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next time with another edition.
What about your magazine?
What about the new edition of the magazine? Is that okay? Thank you, Jim.
I can start interviewing you now.
That's right. Always forget to plug the magazine, but the new edition of the Hamilton County Business Magazine is now available at visitor centers and libraries and downtown Noblesville in the square, where we have a kiosk, not a kiosk. What do you call that? All of a sudden, it's escaping me. A paper box where you can pick up the magazine. On the cover this time, and inside is a story about a Carmel business. As a matter of fact, it's Vine and Branch is the name of the business, and Judd Scott is putting together a new line of business where he's taking old dead trees, and turning them into fine furniture. So be sure to check that out, along with all kinds of other good information in the next Hamilton County Business Magazine on newsstands now. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.